I signed an executive order in consultation and leadership with the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We will be extending the curfew for 2 days, but the times will change. It will go from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And one of the reasons in this is Minnesotans have taken charge of this. The only way these things work is what we've seen the last 2 nights. The vast majority of people abide by this. Those that not are able to address this. I do want to mention something. Some of you witnessed this on many of your stations and live TV. There were protesters that stayed out past the curfew. I think in some cases because of the tragic near miss with the truck, it disrupted some of their schedules. Some of them, I think, were very intent on going home and doing that because it was very clear. They were articulating very clearly the peaceful right to demonstrate, but they also understood once they got out past that time, the interaction with the police that some of you witnessed, and it was gratifying, I think, to see how citizens approached it and how our law enforcement approached it. The very humanized way, the very orderly way that people were processed and treated, and some of the interactions between the two to understand each other was, for me, the way I think people expect this to happen. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change, and that is what I think. That's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back. It looks to me like there's a clear delineation between the folks who are rightfully pained and angered, wanting to see change and expressing it in lawful ways, and what we witnessed on several days earlier in the week, those that are bent on wanton destruction of the very communities that are most pained. I think as citizens, as residents of Minnesota, we can continue to maintain that, and this gives us a space now for a time of unprecedented opportunity to address things that have been around in many cases decades or since the founding or prior to that. I would say this, with that curfew, it's June 1st. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. We are working simultaneously with this. I'll give you a little bit of an update at the end where we will talk about number of tests we're doing are still very up. We tested 22 long-term care facilities. We are planning for massive mobile testing in the cities for folks. I would tell those of you who are out there peacefully protesting, again, if you're starting to get symptoms of COVID-19, please isolate. We will have to do some contact tracing, which I have not wrapped my mind around what that would look like in this size. But we want to massively test you. We want to get you in and get the help. We want to get a handle on that. But June 1st, we're having restaurants open up outside. It's going to be 85 degrees this afternoon. We've got restaurants across the state that are ready to do that. This is a time for community to gather outside in the early evening, experience what Minnesota has to offer, and let's have some of that happen.